Welcome students. This is Kameswari from Civil Engineering Department. My subject Watershed Management. In that Unit-2 we are going to discuss about principle of soil erosion and its control measures. In the second unit today's topic is types of wind erosion, that is wind erosion, suspension, saltation and creep. The wind erosion are: saltation is the first stage of movement of soil particles in series of jumps. Soil particles moved by saltation are between 0.1 to 0.5 mm in diameter. Due to effect of wind, soil particles jumps vertically into air and rise to a height of 30 to 60 centimeters and fall through the air. Generally 50 to 75% of the weight of soil lost by wind erosion and is carried in saltation. Sanitation, that means light particles will be moves in air, heavy particles will be settled down and between 0.1 to 0.5 mm diameter. Only effective of wind, due to effect of wind, soil particles jumps up vertically into air and rise to height 30 to 60 centimeters and falls through the air. That is called as suspension and saltation. In saltation means what this will be effectively jump up vertically in air at a height of 30 to 60 centimeters and falls through the air. The saltation means 30 to 60% rise at the air. And surface creep, this is the creep. So large, then this is only 0.1 to 0.5 mm in diameter. So the particles will be jumped vertically into air and height of 30 to 60 centimeters and falls through in air. The size is in between 0.1 to 0.5 mm. But in creep, the compared to large, so that's why this cannot be jump on air. So rising coarse grain particles like larger than 0.5 to 3 mm in diameter and too heavy to be lifted by wind along the surface creep. The particles are pushed along the surface of the ground, rolling and not jumping. So only rolling on a ground surface, not jumping on air. Generally 5 to 25% weight of the soil lost by wind erosion is carried out in surface creep. So 5 to 25% weight of the soil lost by wind erosion due to lightweight particles will be jump on 50 to 75%. Only it will be jump vertically into air 30 to 60%. And larger than 0.5 to 3 mm, that will be heavy weight, so it will be rolling on a ground surface, not lifting up. And the third one is suspension. So floating fine dust particles. So air consists of a small dust particles through the air is known as a suspension. So very light particles, somewhat compared to large particles, very big particles. So these big particles will be float on a ground surface only. So some more less weight particles will be moves on a jump and down on a ground surface. And suspension means fine dust particles through the air is known as suspension. The particles is smaller than 0.1 mm in diameter. The particles smaller is 0.1 mm. Generally 3 to 4% of the weight of soil lost by wind erosion is carried in suspension. And factors affecting erosion. These factors affecting erosion means three types. The four types: man and made soil and vegetation and rainfall. Factors affecting soil and water erosion. What are the factors affecting soil and water erosion? One is rainfall. Due to rainfall, soil will be eroded. Poor soil, steep slope, very little filtration, water erode topsoil. And rainfall influence both process of detached and transport, amount, intensity, duration, and distribution of rainfall influence runoff and erosion. High intensity rainfall of long duration causes survive the erosion. So during heavy rainfall over a period of time, so water will be eroded. So that will be depend upon the detachable and transportation amount and intensity and duration of a rainfall. High intensity, so losses will be more. Average soils, gentle slopes, some of the water will be infiltrate and less erosion of topsoil. During greenery, water will be struck on root zones, so reduce the soil erosion. And vegetation, due to the vegetation, among the different factors that influence erosion, vegetative cover is more important. Why? Because of raindrops is absorbed by vegetation present in on the soil surface, and therefore no breakdown of soil aggregates. So plant root zone bind the soil particles. So the main advantage of vegetation is the plant root bind the soil particles. So due to addition of organic matter by vegetation, stable aggregates are formed which are resistant to break down. So due to that vegetation, the advantage is infiltration will be more, reduction of soil erosion. Reduction of soil erosion. And soil consists of a different two types: causal soil and causal-less soil. So while erodibility is the susceptibility of soil to erosion, soil characteristics have considerable influence on soil erodibility. These are topography, physical, chemical, and biological properties of soil. How soil are formed: physical, chemical, and biological properties of soil. Degree of soil and length of slope determine the amount of runoff and extent erosion. Soil is physical properties like soil structure and texture influence both detachability and transport of soil particles. So the soil erosion will be depend on the texture and structure, influence both detachability and transport of soil particles. And the fourth one, this is the clay and sand loam. So the clay soil holds more water and slow to absorb water and slow release of water, but in sand extremely porous, so infiltration will be more, allows quick water flow. And in loam, very porous, retains moisture, is the optimal soil type. Do not apply the water faster than the soil can soak it on water in cycle. So half-inch increments. So this is more water absorb, holds more water, slow absorb and slow release, and more pervious and very pervious, retains moisture. And man and beast. This man and beast means man-made erosion also there, that erosion by extractive farming and exclusive grazing. Extractive farming and exclusive grazing. Particles like cultivation on steep, cultivation along the slope, cutting and burning the forest lead to heavy erosion. The man-made erosions are steep, extractive farming and exclusive Grazing. Particles like cultivation and steep cultivation along the slope, cutting and burning the forest leads to heavy erosion. Exclusive grazing destroys all vegetation, leaving the land bare for ravage of erosion. These are the different types of erosions. This is the soil erosion, and due to vegetation we can reduce the soil erosion. Due to rainfall also it will be depend upon the intensity, amount, and the duration and distribution. And suspension, heavy particles, light particles, smaller particles. These are the wind erosion and factors affecting wind erosion, and also factors affecting soil and water erosion. Next topic will be discussed next class.